Hey, everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George N. Touliatos and brought to you by his book, The Bible of Bodybuilding, available on Amazon.com. Everything you need to know about training, nutrition, supplementation, PEDs. While you're on Amazon buying books, what a great book, Real Bodybuilding by Ron Harris. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome the good doctor, George Touliatos. How are you, George?
Hello, Ron. I just returned from Dubai.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I'm really impressed about the city and all the facilities over there. It's something like, I would say Las Vegas, but magnified. You know, just the glass and the sky rocket buildings, you know, but it's the luxury cars that I only seen in the States, and the full air conditioning. Even the subway has, extremely good air conditioning. The luxury hotels, the artificial lakes within the city, you know. So a big business happening there. And actually, it's the city of the future. We have 6 lanes in the roads. In the States, I saw 5 lanes. In Greece, we have 4 lanes.
Yeah, but we've got 6. We've got 6-lane highways. But yeah, let me ask you this, George. Would you live there?
Just for business, no.
Oh, okay, you wouldn't want to live there.
But it's not just the heat, you know. It's another country, of course. If there are Muslims there, I don't have a problem. But I would live in the States for life. Yeah. Yes, but
I wouldn't live anywhere else. I think wherever, there's no place like home, as they say. You know,
Athens, there's no place like home, but you know, the States is another thing. It's the country of the land of freedom, but it provides so many opportunities. Also Dubai, because the tax is only 5%. The government earns money from the petrol, you know, so it lets you grow your business. Unlike in Europe, that basically every country rips you off in case you make a few decent money.
Well, we're headed that way too in the USA. Don't worry. We're headed that way.
Unless you have the capitalism, you know.
Yeah, well, I think we're headed towards socialism with this president, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, let's get. We don't want to talk.
About now the Dubai Pro. The Arabs have built a really good environment about bodybuilding. You know, many Arab bodybuilders are really masters, like the Middle East, the rest of the countries, and they were very well organized. There was no expo, but it was really well organized, the bodybuilding, and they're really fanatic about bodybuilding. And I guess there's no budget limit into bodybuilding to them, so they can use whatever tools they want to. And with Panatta, I was invited by Panatta family. We had a lot of things to do. So to every client and customer of Panatta, I was introduced as a doctor. I'm going to make seminars, because the philosophy of Panatta is I sell you equipment, but also I want to train your staff in the academy and teaching them training, nutrition, supplementation, even chemical enhancement prevention, because they got to be educated, not just about the training equipment. So we're going to have from New Year some seminars in Middle East countries like Abu Dhabi, for instance, or Qatar. And Milos agreed with Milos. He asked me, bring Milos over here. And then they hadn't met since the 90s, so it's 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and Milos said, you haven't changed. You haven't changed Panatta. And we sat down. And we had an agreement, but in FIBO, Panatta is going to be the major sponsor, and in the professionals over there in the expo.
Wow.
And Milos will have a seminar with me. I'm going to ask him the questions he will answer. And actually, I answered the first question in his seminar in Dubai, Milos. And then he told me, please, can you bring over here Sergio Oliva Jr.? I was a little bit, I hadn't met yet Sergio Oliva, but I saw him first in the Olympia 19 when we were all together.
Yeah,
I hadn't the chance to meet him in person and introduce myself. Now, of course, he listens to the show. Besides, he was a cover early in the year. And he told me, thanks for reaching me out. You didn't have to. So I bring him to Panatta, and then it was perfect chemistry, just like that, you know. So they set an agreement for a sponsorship for 2023.
Wow.
And I believe, Sergio wants to compete at the Mr. Olympia, so the qualification will come either from the Arnold, perhaps from FIBO also, because it's next month in April.
Yeah.
But also I think Sergio wants to compete in Brazil Arnold, which is also in April. And hopefully he will get the qualification for the Olympia as a Panatta athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also met Big Ramy. He was sitting next to me to the dinner just before we left. He told me, he assured me that it's going to be his heaviest version. I speculated you're going to look like 310. Last year, actually, he said he was 280.
Okay, Dennis James said he was like 278 or something.
Wow, I mean, this is super.
He didn't train like all year last year. He didn't even train. He started training like 12 weeks out from the Olympics.
Still Ronnie Coleman earns the 296, no, 295 from 04.
Well, I think Ramy's first win in 2020, I think he was
291, 292.
He was 292. I thought he was 300. I think
No, it was below. Actually, maybe 289 and 292.
Okay.
But now he's gonna be 310 for sure because he's 325 with a Christmas tree.
He's a big,
just the ripped glutes, you know. Yeah. And of course, I met also Hani Rambut, and we spoke a little bit. Then we rearranged our, I would say, our meeting for in 7 weeks in Vegas, here at the Olympia.
Oh wow!
It was interesting about how things are going in Greece. I spoke a little bit about Phil, about Jay, you know.
Yeah.
And it was very cool. I mean, Panatta embraced me like a father figure, and I'm a part of the family now. We have an agreement just in seminars, but also as a promoter in the sales. And also we had the chance of meeting Steve Weinbergen and Tyler
Mannion. Yep.
Daniel Mannion, yeah. And actually, Panatta told me, please go to Steve and tell him that I'm here. So I asked one of the security, tell Steve that Mr. Panatta is here. Steve turned like this and said, hi, and then it all rolled out, you know. Yeah. So first of all, I'm introducing myself. I work for Mr. Blackman. So of course they know me, but you know, using Steve's name opened the door to me. And I'm really grateful for Steve for that. You know, I work for MD. Anyway, so as you realize, Ron, negotiation and connections and PR comes step by step, slowly through small, you know, solid movements.
Yeah, I mean, every business is based on relationships. That's the truth.
Yeah, but you have to make the correct movements slowly, gradually, steadily, you know, in order to establish something then afterwards. Tell
Panatta to adopt me. Yeah, I love equipment.
Well, anyway. Panatta spent a lot of money in 1 month for three trips for me, you know, and I'm feeling really grateful. And say whatever you want, boss.
Right on. All right. Well, let's get to some questions because we got some good ones this week. First one, doctor. I have a question about sublingual use / intake of oral steroids. Is it really that much better than just swallowing the capsules or tabs? Does it get into the bloodstream faster and is it healthier? Or is it completely overrated?
It's not completely overrated. Actually, this is what happens. It gets straight to the bloodstream because we have the tiny capillary network. This is why under heart attack, we take nitroglycerin underneath the tongue. This is why under hypoglycemic, before the coma, we use sugar underneath the tongue because it gets straight to the bloodstream rather than swallowing, going to the gastric mucosa and then through the circulation. And by swallowing it, it's like by letting dissolve, it's like injecting in parenterically because from the stomach, then it goes through the portal vein to the liver first time and then second through the circulation. So we just bypass this and we have only one entrance to the liver, and this is perhaps 20% less stress.
Yeah, and you've said before that we lose a good portion, like we lose like 40% or 50% of the drugs when you swallow it.
Now, if you swallow it, it won't work perhaps in 30 minutes. If you take it underneath the tongue, perhaps in 5 or 10 minutes.
Wow.
You save time.
Right on. But yeah, I mean, isn't that, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say that when we swallow it, something like 50% of the drug gets destroyed by the...
We had a question in the past, I think last year, and Bill Welling says that 30% of the anavar is lost, is found in the urine. And imagine that anavar is 17 alkylated that's supposed to sustain the hepatic entrance.
Okay, cool. This is one, I know we've talked about this before, but this is still a big topic with TRT. Can TRT cause an enlarged prostate? If so, will finasteride help, or would the finasteride interfere with your TRT?
Yes, it blocks the DHT, and DHT is responsible for the sex drive and the self-esteem and the cognitive function, but it does not interfere that much with muscles. Now, DHT can affect your dryness because it has an estrogenic effect. So if you block DHT, perhaps you're going to have a little bit of puffiness and water retention because the other metabolite, the E2, the estradiol, elevates. And estrogens make you look smoother and more bloated. And besides, when we use aromatase inhibitor, we cut off E2, then increases the DHT, the other metabolite. But this is a benign, it's not a malignant thing. So it's the good scenario, let's say prostatic enlargement, that it has nothing to do with the cancer.
But this TRT doesn't cause prostate enlargement. Doesn't that just happen from getting older?
Of course. And also, almost 100% of men over 80 are going to have prostate cancer. It's the disease of the elderly.
Wow.
But it's so slowly developed that it's not going to be life-threatening if they live 90. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it was Dr. Morgenthaler at Harvard was one of the first people that really pointed out the problems with the studies in the past that tried to link prostate cancer to testosterone.
That's 3 people. And, actually only one of them was a real case. But now it's verified that testosterone does not cause cancer, but in prostate cancer, we shouldn't give DHT because we feed. So we can give testosterone with dutasteride that blocks a lot of DHT. Okay. So you cannot take Proviron, of course, but you can take controlled testosterone through dutasteride. That's going to make your hair thicker also.
Oh, good. See, I need that. Look at that. Oof. All right. Next one is, can some AAS cause adrenal fatigue? And which specific ones would do that?
The adrenal fatigue is the result of other things, but we know that strong androgens that increase aggression and also intensity of the workout, like trembling, for instance, it can deplete your nervous system through very high intensity exercise, okay? Because we know we stimulate a lot of the CNS. Stimulating a lot of the CNS may make you adrenal fatigue because it's more likely to be linked with insomnia. Okay, so we need to cool down and chill out in order to restore the adrenal fatigue, sleep well, taking some herbs, avoid stimulants. So this is the indirect mechanism how some very strong androgen, along with extremely high intensity exercise, may lead you to adrenal fatigue, low DHEA levels, and low cortisol levels in the long run.
Yeah, but it's not a direct cause.
I don't think so. No.
Sort of indirect causation. All right, now this is the question of the week. It's kind of long because I asked this guy for a follow-up because I wasn't quite understanding what he said. So first of all, he started off with, do you know what porn stars, adult industry male actors, use as gear? What is their protocol? How can one turn into a sex machine? What PEDs do they use and how do they stack them? Please state dosages and names of steroids because they seem to be on a lot of gear. Thank you for everything. Thank you for doing an incredible show that helps people have a better quality of life. So I saw that in the comments and I asked him, I watched some porn. I don't think these guys, most of them don't look to me like they're on gear at all.
But some of them are phenomenal. Okay?
Some of them. But so I asked him, what makes you think they're on gear? And he continued, most adult actors, industry actors seem to be very pumped and ripped. Not true. And the overall aspect of them doesn't seem to be natural. Also, I once spoke with a guy from my gym. He was doing porn video chat with his wife, and he was on a lot of gear, from Test-D to GH and Viagra, PT 141, whatever the hell that is, and so on. He also told me most actors in the porn industry do a lot of PEDs to be able to perform.
Yeah.
Again, I know it's not a common question, but hopefully we can figure it out. Big fan of the show, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I don't think we know the answer. I don't know.
Listen to me. First of all, we have to know that the porn stars, apart from PEDs, are using injectable nitric oxide in the penis, along with the 5-phosphodiesterase inhibitors, Cialis, Levitra, and Viagra.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to the PEDs, certainly androgens, which is testosterone, drostanolone, mesterolone, so Proviron, Masteron, and testosterone, fast-acting testosterone propionate.
Yep.
And I don't know, I'm not sure about halotestin, but certainly those 3 androgens. And not 19-orthotestosterone, because through the prolactin, you're going to interfere with the sex drive. So Trenin and Dec are out of the question.
Okay. Because to me, I mean, these guys, most of them to me don't look like they're on steroids.
Well, some of them are really well built, you know.
Some of them are, but most of them are not.
We're speaking about those.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, he's thinking that the performance comes from steroids. And I think these are just guys with very high sex drives. I don't think they need.
But it's based on androgens.
I mean, think about when I was like 18, 20, 25, I wasn't on any androgens and I had I could have sex like 10 times a day, no problem. So I don't think people need steroids if they have a strong sex drive. I could see where these drugs, you're talking about Caverject that goes directly into the penis, the injection.
Yes.
I could see where that things like that and Viagra and Cialis for performance.
Also, listen, man, libido, sex drive is a matter of testosterone, which is a cerebral hormone, like Morgentalis says.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, some men have very, very high sex drives. They don't need steroids to have high sex drives.
They do, but if you hit your 40s, testosterone goes down, and also you have vascular issues out of atherosclerosis and insulin resistance.
Yeah.
And now those that are flabby, I bet they inject in the penis and they take orally also.
Yeah, you remember Ron Jeremy? Do you know who that was?
No.
He was a huge star, and he was not like obese, like morbidly obese, but he had a belly. He had all kinds of hair. He was disgusting. They called him the porcupine, but he was one of the biggest names in porn for.
Well, I remember John Holmes.
Yeah.
John Holmes and the Boogie Nights movie, Dirk Diggler with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a great movie.
Very cool movie with Bar Reynolds also and Debbie Moore, I think.
I think it won Academy Award. I think it got Best Picture because it was really great. It was a great movie. It was well done. Yeah, I actually went to film school with the guy that directed that movie, Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah, obviously.
It was 97.
Yeah. So we graduated in 91 from Emerson College in Boston. He went on to do big movies, that guy. But I barely knew him in school. I don't think I even said hi to him more than twice, but yeah, he directed Boogie Nights. So as far as dosages and drugs, we don't know. I mean, people do whatever.
Now, every other day, let's say propionate, 100 milligrams proviron every day. And every other day also one masteron. I think this is enough.
Yeah. Because I assume this guy wants to know so he can try the cycle himself.
So 400 masteron, 400 testosterone propionate, and 100 proviron every day.
Yeah. But you wouldn't want to do that all the time, like year round, would you?
No. Control your prolactin and your estradiol.
Okay.
And that's all.
All right. So there's your porn question, sir. I hope we answered your question properly.
Tell us if it works. Huh?
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to know if this was for you, if you want to try it yourself. Next one is, does milk or dairy products increase estrogen in men? If so, what is the mechanism?
If the milk is from soy, yes.
Soy milk, yeah. What about not cow milk, right?
Cow milk, I think, if the cow is doped, again, you're going to increase your IGF-1. If you take colostrum also, you're going to increase your IGF-1.
Yeah. Tell me this, because I heard that
sometimes gynecomastia is related to high IGF-1.
IGF-1.
Along with other things also, but it's a fact.
I've heard that in the world, goat milk is the most widely used milk, more so than cows. Do you know that from living in Europe? Do they drink more goat milk? I don't think
so. I mean, goat is more bitter. I don't know the word, but goat and the goat yogurt is cleanest, let's say, from the cows, because the small animal that is not doped. And we have kefir out of goat, which is bitter but has good bacteria for the intestine. We have diarrhea.
I tried to drink that kefir stuff. Like we bought it for our son because he's got colitis, and it was disgusting. I couldn't even drink it. Oh, kefir. Well, now I know why. It's from a goat.
Put some stevia inside.
No, I threw it in the trash. So here's one. I don't know if you remember Vince Aranda. What do you think about Vince Aranda diet for muscle building? Steak, eggs, milk, cream, and supplements with no fruits or vegetables.
No. Steak and eggs is the most anabolic food, the best combination.
Yeah.
Now, cream, I'm not sure about it, but if it has whey, the cream, and casein inside, it's also anabolic, but it has a lot of fat also.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, fat can trigger your anabolins through the cholesterol synthesis, testosterone. And now, no vegetable is not cool, of course.
No fruit and vegetables. That's terrible diet. Terrible.
Fruits are not for the diet because they have fructose elevated insulin. They're healthy though for the antioxidants and the vitamins. And actually, Mohammed Makawi was the student of Gironda. They had this skinny, dry look, flat look, actually.
Flat.
And also Larry Scott, but Larry Scott had round muscles, this other thing.
Well, because it sounds like it was almost like a keto diet, really. It was a lot of high fat, low carbs.
Exactly. That's
all it really was a keto type of diet. I don't know if he even had carbs. I assume he did, but I don't know if he did. I'd have to look more into it. Interesting. Oh, as far as fruits and vegetables, I do think, I just want to put it out there. I eat like an apple every day, and I have blueberries with my breakfast every day.
Green apple is not bad, and blueberries and blackberries are really good for the arteries, for the resveratrol, oxidation of LDL.
Yeah.
And some pomegranate, but that's all. Perhaps a little bit of pineapple, but no bananas, no apricots, no grapes. This is catastrophic, and it's especially for the bulking.
Very high sugar for sure. Okay. Last question is, every week I take 120 milligrams test and 40 milligrams nandrolone. I split the test into 2 injections of 60 milligrams each. Is there any reason to split the nandrolone dose as well? What about a cycle of 200 mg test and 100 mg nandrolone weekly? Any reason to split the nandrolone dosage?
For the same reason we split the testosterone, to avoid the spiking of the metabolites. And also the impact on the liver is less. Okay. In everything you do, it's better take one anadrol. Cut it in half, take it every 12 hours rather than a full 50 milligram anadrol. So everything, break it down. Now we break it down. Of course, DECA has a prolonged half-life, even more prolonged than testosterone or cypionate.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we're going to have more stable levels if we inject Monday and Thursday rather than every Monday. So we cut the week every 3.5 days, the week and a half every 3.5 days. But we want to avoid DHT, DHN in E2, and perhaps prolactin spiking. That's all. We want to have smoother effects on the bloodstream.
Okay. The last thing is not a question. It's just a thank you from a patient of yours here in Boston, Sako Janesian. Sako says, Dr. T makes a good point about fatty liver disease. Weighing 277, I was morbidly obese, living in Boston. None of my primary physicians screened me for fatty liver and pre-diabetes. The first and only doctor to ever check and mention was Dr. T. From 277, I dropped to 214 in 1 year, thanks to Dr. Tulliato. So
he was impressive, his change. He was really off when he met me 2019 before my first Olympia. Yeah. And now that he arrived, man, he looks slim and he wears jeans that he was wearing back, It's so satisfying wearing your old tight jeans, You have a new body.
I met Sako at the Boston Pro. I'm sure he'll go again.
He's a very friendly guy. Yes.
Good dude. Good dude. So, Doctor, that is all our questions. We're working on some special guests. I don't think we should say anything until we're locked in. But guys, we've got some treats in store for you. Dr. T has been making some connections over in Dubai. Yeah. And we're going to have some really cool guests coming up, thanks to Dr. George. So
7 weeks for the O, huh?
Yeah. Looking forward.
We don't have any other qualifications, huh?
I think Romania. So we have the Prague Pro.
Oh yeah, Krizo. Yeah.
Krizo, he'll probably win that. There's the only other guy is this.
We asked Milos about his opinion about Krizo. Actually, Panatta did, and he said, okay, he can become the top 10, but if he doesn't change his lats, he cannot go further. Hitting the top 5. Agreed.
Yeah, but we'll see. It's so there's that show, and I think the Romania Muscle Fest. I think that's the last one that they can qualify. But there's still people qualifying for the Olympia. My goodness. There's already like over 30 men qualified in the open, 50 classic physique, 50 men's physique.
Yeah, but the Olympia stage, how many are 20 people?
Well, they're going to they have to let them all compete. That's the thing. So you're going to have
the open class.
In the open, you'll have like 30 guys or 35 by that point. Yeah. It's going to be 30. Classic physique is going to be 50. Yeah, it's going to be a long weekend, guys. All right.
Milos gives a hot favorite, Chris Baum. This guy, Frank Logan.
Logan, that's Milos's guy. Yeah, Logan's very good. But it's going to be a great show. We'll talk more about it as we get closer. I
asked actually the opinion of Hani if Chris can do the open, and he verified what we already know, that Chris don't want to step it much with the gear. So because he's super tall, he's 6'2", he's gonna need to be 250, more than 250 on stage.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I interviewed him like a month ago, and he said, no way, I'm not going open. Never, never. No interest.
He needs 2 years of season. There's a lot of stress.
Well, he doesn't want to do it. He's got a kidney disease. He's trying to be healthy. So that would not be smart for Chris Bumstead. And he's making really good money. He's got more fans. You know, Rami's got like 2 or 3 million people on Instagram. Bumstead
has 5 and he has 10.
Yeah, 10.5 million. He has 2 million YouTube subscribers on his channel.
Wow.
Chris is doing great. Don't worry about Chris. He doesn't need to go open. He does not. He's all set.
Frankly, he's much better than any Greek pro that competed apart from Mike K.
Yeah.
And he's 25, classic physique, imagine that.
3-time Olympia champ already.
240 on stage, I believe in 250, he's 5%.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a specimen. If I was a young kid getting into the sport now, I'd want to look like Chris Bumstead, not Big Rami. That's just a heck of a physique. All right, well, that wraps up this show, guys. If you have questions for next time, please leave them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you like these videos, don't just like them, please share them too. And of course, hit the little notification bell so you know when we have new video content. Tons of great content on this channel. Dr. George, thank you so much for doing this show once again, sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your expertise with all these people around the world for free, I might add. So that's it. Thanks, guys, for watching Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Touliatos. We'll see you next time.